Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, the Facebook page of the Virtual Cantina Network, and the YouTube page of the Virtual Cantina Network, as well as the Nerf Herder Council Twitch page. If you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to click that like button and click that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial. If you would like to get customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. I think I got that wrong, but who cares? And if you'd like to get Virtual Cantina Network gear, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. Without further ado, let me bring on my globe-trotting friend and brother and co-host. Of course, you know him, you love him. He is AJ. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
I am good. What the hell is the address for our shop? Shop.nerfherdercouncil.com, right?
There you go. That's the one.
There we go. I'm a little fired up. I'm a little fired up, so I have a lot to say, and I'm focused on that. So first things first, how was your trip?
Oh boy, adventures. Yeah, adventures with all over the globe. I discovered what being pickpocketed in a foreign country is like. So as soon as I got to France, I discovered I had no phone. So that was fun trying to navigate a country on another continent without any means of communication with anyone. Good times. So yeah.
When I got that message from your girlfriend, I was like, wow, only AJ could have that happen to him. So
got off the train, was going to check my phone to see like what I needed to pick up as far as a bus or a tram or something to get to my hotel. Was like, you should probably get off the platform first and then just check it once you get into the station. Then I got into the station, reached for my pocket, and there was no phone there. So
because somebody had already reached for your pocket before you could.
Exactly. So yeah, joy of joys. But
fun,
oh well.
Fun. Well, Kale McLeish,
always fine.
Oops, sorry. Kale McLeish, always good to see you. Says, John, your hat is awesome. This is actually a gift from AJ that he didn't mean to make it a gift. He bought the hat for himself and it didn't fit. So he's like, here, maybe this will fit you. And of course, me having a giant dome, AJ not having a giant dome, it fits me like a glove. So appreciate the compliment. It's AJ's good taste, not my own. So, all right. Well, real quick, as usual, the views of the Nerf Herder Council do not necessarily mirror those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and our show may have some bad language. I can guarantee you tonight it's probably going to have a lot of bad language. I'm going to try not to curse a lot. I can't make any promises. Yeah, so just be warned. So this one is I'm quite riled up. And
can we at least just talk about the show and our thoughts before we get into other people's thoughts of the show?
Well, so I'm riled up about other people's thoughts of the show, but it's also basically because of things that people have been saying about the show. It has brought up comments about Star Wars in general, and I've kept my mouth shut for a while now, and I'm fucking tired of keeping my mouth shut. So this is the cool thing is that the Virtual Cantina Network is unbelievably inclusive. It's a positive place. It's a beautiful place to hang out, and I will be very surprised if the network doesn't agree with what I have to say. So, see, like this dickhead, Jimmy, you are such a fucking moron. And I am going to be yelling at people like you. So just get ready for it, dude. You're lucky we're best friends. So Jimmy says, swear away. You'll be talking about another trash series. Whatever, dude. You don't even know what Star Wars is. So there you go. Luke has spoken. Checking in. Good to see you, man. He says, hello there. Zamian is checking in. Oh boy. He said, thanks for the warning. Yeah, this is yeah. So yeah, so let's get into the show and then we can take it from there. So I love it. I did not expect to love it. This is not the story I thought we were going to get at all. and I am extremely pleasantly surprised by the show. I really love it. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because there's a ton of Jedi in it, which is my favorite part of Star Wars. But this has a very prequel-ish feel to me, and as I've said on the show many times, I love the prequels. So I really dig it. Master Soul, I love that character, and it shouldn't be a surprise because I, then read later that the actor who plays him, his name escapes me, but his favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon Jinn, who is my favorite Jedi. So I should not be surprised.
Squid Game. He's just Squid Game guy. That's good enough.
Is that the guy, like the main character in Squid Games?
Yes. He learned to speak English specifically for this role in 4 months.
Wow. I feel
a
lot stupider now.
Right?
Jeez. Wow.
Fortunately, amazingly, for all the vitriol we've seen online, no one has ragged on this guy's acting job. And I'm like, thank God, because if the dude's acting in a completely foreign language, he's doing a fine job.
Yeah. Ashley Brienzo, thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. It says, highest of fives, John. Lee Jung-jae is phenomenal. Luke has spoken, says Lee Jung-jae is great as Soul. Kale McLeish says, damn, he's done very well. And Robbie Bobertson, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that, says, love Master Soul. Thanks for tuning in, man. Good to see you. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the show? Because correct me if I'm wrong here, but you are not as big a fan of this as I am.
Okay, so yeah, it takes a few reviews actually, because I'm coming around to it now. I wasn't originally. I will admit the first couple episodes didn't grab me like other series have.
Thanks, Robbie.
And I'm kind of a prick for the visuals. I didn't know until I actually read that this thing wasn't filmed in the volume, because there's just something about the look of these shows that all seems like it's not like the films. Like I don't know if it's the framing of the shots or the clarity or the type of cameras they're shooting on or something, but something about it has a very like that's good cosplay look instead of I'm, the very first episode when they're walking in the Jedi robes, and I know they're wearing the white ceremonial robes, and that's the High Republic to a T. And but I don't know, something about the design. I'm like, man, I swear that could be done at Celebration, but like better. I don't know. Something had was off for me at the start, but the more episodes have come out and the more I've rewatched them, I think a lot of my issues with the show are kind of deliberate on the part of the creators, like things that don't make sense, or the visuals. Everything about this show seems to be it's a mystery, and they said it was a mystery. So I think a lot of the stuff that I had an issue with is a deliberate misdirect, and I just need to calm my shit down, let the story play out, and it's as it's going, I'm liking it more, and as I rewatch the episodes, I'm liking them more.
Yeah.
So for rewatchability alone, I'm enjoying it, and I think that everybody needs to just give this thing a chance instead of writing it off before the story's even told.
I agree. By the way, guys, if you have not watched all 4 episodes, we will be there will be spoilers in this episode, so we apologize. I have not been the biggest fan of the High Republic stuff, but this actually is really grabbing me. I love the mystery aspect of it. I like all the characters, even the goofy little Basil, the little tracker.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah.
Like the chipmunk dude or whatever he is. Like, I have to admit, when I first watched it last night, I was like, is that Alvin, Simon, or Theodore? Like, Luke has spoken. He says, so far, I don't love it, but I don't vehemently despise it either. It's a bit middle of the road for me, though, leaning more positive than negative. So, yeah, I'm loving the story. Ashley Branzo is a big fan of Basil. Says Basil was crazy. Sherry Evans Ellsburn says, I love Basil. Yep. Very cool character. It was almost like, Spencer, awesome to see you, brother. He says, this show is straight fire. Yes. Yeah, I love it. And the show is getting review bombed. And I hate that. I think it's fucking bullshit. And if I have to see one more asshole put something online saying that space lesbians made a baby, I'm going to puke. And that's what I'm pissed about, because I'm sick.
That is so reductive.
It's, dude, and you know what? I'm sick and
There's
tired.
so much more to it than that.
Thank you. And I'm sick and tired of the Star Wars is woke crowd. I'm sick and tired of the Disney ruined Star Wars crowd. Just fuck all the way off, okay? Oh, they ruined Star Wars. No, they didn't. And if you think it got ruined, you don't know what the fuck Star Wars was in the first place. You want to know what Star Wars is? You go to a Star Wars celebration, or you come on the Virtual Cantina Network, okay? That's what you do, because you don't understand a goddamn thing about Star Wars. I'm sick and tired of reading that crap, dude. I'm sick and tired of reading that crap, okay? There was already an Immaculate Conception, Anakin Skywalker, so there you go. It happened before, you cheeseheads. And, by the way, they were a coven of witches. And you know what? If they are gay, who gives a shit? Okay? Shut up. I have had this crap online, dude. I'm like, and maybe it's pushing me to like the show even more, but I've had it with that stupid, ridiculous argument. I have had it up to here. I am sick and tired of people politicizing this shit, okay? Just because you're on one side of the political spectrum or the other doesn't mean you got to drag it into Star Wars or make it something it isn't, okay? It's space wizards. It's lightsabers. It's spaceships, okay? It's not conservatism, liberalism, what the left, right, blah, blah, blah. It's not. So shut up and stop it, okay? Enough is enough. I am so done with it, dude. I can't handle it. Star Wars is supposed to be fun, and these assholes go out there and they review bomb stuff, and they got to post all their stupid, dumbass opinions, and we're shut up. Just shut up. And you know what? Is it called gaslighting or gatekeeping or whatever the hell I'm doing, saying you don't know what Star Wars is? If that's what I'm doing, then goddamn right.
Gatekeeping.
You know, yes, well, I know what Star Wars is, and I'm 16-0 in Star Wars trivia contest to prove it. And I've been at Celebration ever since 2010, and I think everybody should be involved. I think everybody should be included, and I think every once in a while, is there something you could look at and go, yeah, you know, there was the lesbian kiss in the end of Rise of Skywalker. Okay, that's like 3 seconds. 3 seconds. The movie was 2.5 hours long, okay? So stop it with this shit. There is so much more. But these assholes have to focus on this crap and turn it into something it isn't, and I'm fucking sick and tired of it.
Fun fact, you know there was a lesbian kiss on Star Trek in the 90s?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Star Wars is like 30 years late to the party. So, yeah, if you want to talk about agendas, there you go.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to rant, dude, but I'm
By the way, you did well. We got like 7 minutes of Acolyte talk in before the rant, so...
Well, we'll keep talking. We'll keep talking Acolyte. We have a lot of live viewers, and I think people want to be like, "What's he going to rant about?" So I'm giving the people what they want. But yeah, I mean, Spencer says, "AJ, please give JT a Snickers bar."
yeah. Unfortunately, Spencer, this is JT. Like, I can't blame it on hunger.
Yeah.
No, he actually does speak for both of us, by the way. You're just way better at getting pissed off than I am.
Sorry.
No, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous, the things that people are getting pissed off about. Like their Star Wars isn't breaking any new ground here. And they're not even right with their criticism. Oh, the space lesbians. They're not space lesbians. Just because it's all women doesn't mean that they're just laying around all day being lesbians. And if they are, who cares?
Exactly.
But the exact lines that people are getting triggered about was the fact that one woman says, I carried them, and the other one says, I made them. Okay? There's nothing about those two even being a romantic couple. It's just that someone had to have a womb to carry children, and someone had the thread ability, we're calling it, I guess, to create them. So it's not even explicit lesbianism. There's no kissing. There's no hand-holding. There's nothing. So if you're that homophobic, there's nothing in here to trigger you. So for people to get all pissed off about this stuff, it's because you're looking for something to get pissed off about. You just live your life looking for something that's going to piss you off, rather than maybe getting some degree of enjoyment out of stuff for a change, because it's a good story and it's at least something different. And I give credit for trying to do something different instead of hang another story off of the Skywalker saga. So this whole thing of like, oh, well, Anakin's the chosen one and he's the Immaculate. Like, that's the whole idea, is that they've been expanding the idea that it's not just the Jedi and the Sith, that there's all kinds of other interpretations of what the Force is and how it's done, almost like religions. So to sit there and say that, oh, well, it's only the Jedi and the Sith and all the rest of this stuff is all crap and it's all woke. It's like, well, I guess you probably don't like Hindu or Buddhism or Judaism or name any number of other major religions you want, because apparently only the one that these people ascribe to is the right one, and everyone else is just wrong.
Yep, dude, I completely agree. And we got some great comments in the chat, and people are going on. John Phillips, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. He says, no, I'm just looking for good Star Wars. Well, look, see, that's the thing, John. Okay, if you don't like it because you don't like it, and if you're just like, yeah, I don't like the show, that's fine. But the people that we're talking about are the dickheads that have to politicize everything, and they're like, oh, it's woke, or this. It's not woke. I mean, stop it. I mean, if you don't like it because you just think it's a bad show or a bad movie, that's fine. I mean, that's totally cool. But when these people,
unless it's Kenobi, then you get blocked from your own show.
Well, yeah, because you're a stupid ass for that. But yeah, I mean, when people just ascribe their political beliefs into it, it's just cut it out, man. Like AJ said, like, you're looking for something, and is it maybe a little more obvious than at times than it should be? I could maybe see that, but who cares? Who cares, man? If you're coming to Star Wars to do that, you're coming to Star Wars for the wrong reasons. And it's just I'm just so tired of seeing it. And this review bombing crap, just to, first of all, that's just stupid anyway. Okay. I don't know about you, AJ, but I've never in my life, for a single second of entertainment that I take in, either print or visual or, whatever, I have never looked at a review ahead of time and gone, oh, this has like a 20% score, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm going to watch it for, so what are these people really achieving? Well, you think you're cool because you can run a bot and get a bunch of dumb fuck negative reviews? Who cares? Go get a life, man. Seriously. I'm just, it's a broader issue, AJ, and I'm just done with it. I hate politics. And when people keep bringing it in, it's like, just go away. Oh my God, it's not that important. It really isn't.
I mean,
we're gonna talk about the show, but
I was gonna say, if we're gonna get pissed off about stuff in the show, I've got some real things to get pissed off about. Like, yeah, okay. You murdered Trinity in the cold open, damn near. Okay.
Okay.
What the fuck is that?
Yes. I thought the same thing. I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to have Trinity in this thing and you're going to rub her out in the first 5 minutes? That is ridiculous.
Then we get excited for a Wookiee Jedi. And what do they do? Yes. Kill him off screen.
Exactly. Exactly.
And basically, if you like something in the show, it's going to die and you're not going to be happy with it.
Right? Spencer Jowitz. Can we talk about Smilo Ren? That would be the 10th member of Slipknot, Spencer. That's, right. That's what we're talking about. So, yeah, I was not a big fan of killing off the Jedi so quickly.
But I get that it needs to happen. It's a critical plot point for the story. So you can't get too attached. But man, like, she's all over the poster and people are so excited. Like, oh my God, Carrie-Anne Moss in Star Wars. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, for like an episode, maybe a flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's what we get. Like, come on. Why do you cast someone like that and then not like get good use of them?
Do you think she got the script? They're like, you want to be in Star Wars? She's like, hell yeah, man. And she reads the script and is like, son of a bitch.
They were probably all excited. And then they saw her day rate. They're like, we're going to cut that part back a little bit.
Yeah. Rewrite. Lucas spoken says, I affectionately call the mysterious dark side user Sith Not. Exactly. Also, AJ, he's on my side. Kenobi was fire. Yes, it was. AJ for some reason doesn't like it, but he's not the sharpest tool in the drawer. I mean he got pickpocketed in a foreign country, for Christ's sakes. What does that tell you?
I agree with Lucas spoken. Kenobi should have died in a fire.
Oh
wait, there was a scene where he should have died in a fire, except he didn't. He's the only flame retardant Jedi in the galaxy, apparently. He must have learned that one from Qui-Gon.
I just want you to know that you being pickpocketed was God getting karma on you for being an asshole about Kenobi. So just so you're aware, you brought it on yourself. You have done that yourself. Oh my God. So
let's just
Sherry Evans
walk through this a little bit. Yeah.
It says she's hoping to see her in more flashbacks. Yeah, I agree. But
I think we've got
I
to,
think we
right?
almost. I was just about to say, I think we kind of have to, because the whole story of, Kale, AJ, I want to pickpocket you at this point. Apparently, he's an easy target, Kale. So if you ever go to Australia, I'll let you know. You can get a new phone. So, yeah. I mean, at the end of this most recent episode, he says, when we get May on the ship safely, I'll tell you the whole story. So obviously there's something, a lot of stuff we don't know. So
and
I
obviously he's going to die. It's just,
well,
you can't signpost that any better.
Yeah.
It's like, he might as well say, after this mission, I'm going to retire. Like,
right. The next episode he dies, and all of a sudden you're without the guy for the next 3 episodes, and it's just May and Osha going, well, god damn it, what's the story? What's the story? Like, and everybody else is like, I don't know, I wasn't there. You killed all the other ones. I mean, dummy, at least get some information out of him before you slaughter him. Nice work. So yeah.
So how do you feel about this era of Jedi, the end of the High Republic era?
I'm liking it so far on the screen. The books didn't grab me yet. I keep trying to go back and get into it, and it's just it hasn't grabbed me like I would hope. But yeah, in the show, I think it's pretty cool. One of the things I really liked is, I mean, it's just a brief scene, but I like how they're showing the Padawans being trained on Coruscant. I think that adds a layer to what we've already known about their training and whatnot, which I think is really cool. It's like, even though it's very minor, I think fleshing it out is pretty cool. And the guy's like, keep it tight but subtle, and improve your defenses without the need to strike, things like that. So I think it's cool. And honestly, it's really not that different. I would have thought it would be something different than it is, I guess, but it's a lot closer to what we know as Jedi, at least in my opinion. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I know a little bit more about the High Republic than you do, so I see a lot of that coming in, which is cool. Like, if you notice, there's different layers to the Jedi Order that we never really saw in the movies before, right? We've got the local constabulary. We got those schmoes on whatever planet Master Torben was on.
Yeah.
And then you get the ones who actually come from Coruscant, who are obviously higher in the order, but apparently not anywhere near the council. They're trying to do all this without alerting the Jedi Council. It's a very convenient way to make sure that you don't have to worry about Yaddle and Yoda and anyone else who would have definitely been on the council at this point in time. But they're like, you know what, we don't have to do that.
Real quick, sorry to cut you off, but you just brought something to mind. Did we get a Plo Koon sighting, or was it just me, or somebody just looked like him? It was in the background of one
design. I'm going to believe it's Plo Koon. It's definitely Kiadi Mundi. That's confirmed with subtitles.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to put the subtitles on and go watch it. Okay.
Yeah. So Kiadi Mundi, basically, whenever that dude opens his mouth, he's just wrong. He's like the dumbest Jedi in the galaxy.
You got the biggest head, and you're the dumbest bastard on this council.
Right?
What's wrong with you?
He's wrong in this show. He's wrong about the Sith being extinct in episode 1. Right? Is that episode 1? Yeah. The Sith being extinct for millennia.
Yeah.
And he's wrong in, I think it's Revenge of the Sith. Whatever he says in that one too is just wrong.
That's one of the deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith. Is Kiadi Mundi opens his mouth to say something, it pops up, and Plo Koon just smacks him in the shoulder, like, God damn it, what is it with you? Well, dude,
that's the real dirty secret. Is actually Order 66 went down, but his Galactic Marines didn't actually have their inhibitor chips triggered. They were sick of his shit. They're like, you know what? Fuck this guy. We're just gonna shoot him.
This dude's a tool, man. Let's take him out. All right. So
Right?
Luke has spoken. Thank you for correcting us. He said it was not Plo Koon. It was a new Keldor Jedi named Ithia Pan. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Apparently, tonight's my night for mispronunciation. Sherry Evans Ellsburn says Kiadi was also confirmed in the credits. So, Kale, if it was, my joke of what about the May attack on the Wookiee made a lot more sense. Nice. Yeah.
No, so yeah, so the Jedi are cool. I like seeing the different layers to them. I was really annoyed because a lot of them were kind of unlikable as the show started off.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of on purpose, right? Like this show is all about misdirects.
Yeah.
So like in the third episode where they just march onto the planet and they're like, "Hey guys, we kind of had to like hack our way into landing, but we're kind of allowed because we're the Jedi. So
Yeah.
whatever ritual you're doing here, you should just like stop and give us your kids."
Yeah.
Like
That one took me by
they were
surprise.
they were kind of shitty by design, I think. Like I think that's
Yeah.
like, what do they call it? Like an
Assholishness.
untrustworthy narrator or something, unreliable narrator. There's a term for like when you're deliberately not supposed to take what you're presented in a story at face value. And I think a lot of the third
I'm too
episode in
dumb for that.
particular was, I think a lot of the third episode in particular, I was like not on board with it because I'm like, this stuff does not make sense. Like the she tries to start a fire surrounded by nothing but solid rock, but everything's up in flames, like that kind of stuff. It's like it's too dumb to just be bad filmmaking. I'm like, I think we're not supposed to like the Jedi quite so much. I think they're portrayed in a kind of shitty light on purpose because we're getting someone else's point of view outside the Jedi.
I could see that. And
Like
you also
Master Jord, is that right? He's
the
over your
green.
right shoulder right now on the feed.
Oh, Yord. Yeah.
Yord. Sorry, Yord. Yeah, like he's kind of a prick. I think he's supposed to be. The whole legacy of the Jedi is that they were victims of their own hubris. So I think we're seeing that in this show, I think. Probably on purpose.
That's what I was going to say, is that I think, the High Republic's like 200-300 years ago, and this is kind of near the end of that. So they're starting to get into that, kind of outlook and attitude that was on display in, the prequels, kind of getting up their own asses and stuff like that, and just kind of being a little too cocky and powerful. And, so it's kind of like this, the very beginnings of that downfall that we saw. Which I think is cool. I totally agree with you. What that episode where the third episode where they just show up and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're just gonna do this."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, what a bunch of dicks!" It's like, this is crazy. But it was also kind of cool, I thought. Again, it kind of adds something to the story, which is one of the things I really like about this show, is it's adding some cool layers to things. Like, we've never seen the Jedi, like, how do they get all these younglings and Padawans and stuff? Well, they, apparently, they just go take them sometimes. So, there's not like there's not like a way station at the Jedi Temple, like where parents are like, "Hey, my kid made the couch float. Can you test him, please?" Like, so, so it's like, there's nothing like that. So, yeah, I think it's cool. I really like how they've done that. And again, I think the characters are interesting. I love the whole sister thing, like one's good, one's bad. In the episode they're hollering at each other like, the Jedi are good, the Jedi are bad. Like, that's cool. It shows that the galaxy is not 100% pro Jedi, which we knew, but I thought that was cool. And seeing all the different masters, I think, is interesting. And like I said, it's just the character of Master Soul is just so cool to me, because it's but I've always been like attracted to the Jedi that are like just super good guys. You know what I mean? It's like, my favorite Marvel characters, Captain America, the squeaky clean. And Qui-Gon Jinn was coming from, he was kind of a slime ball in a way, but he was coming at it from a pure spot with the Force. Like he's got a different outlook. He's like, well, this is what it's supposed to be. So I thought that was cool. And Soul, like, there's something about the guy that's just like, seems like no pun intended, like the tortured soul. He's got this secret. Yeah. And I love that. And I think, I can't wait to see how this plays out. I think,
there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't line up on purpose. I think, like the thing of how the hell do both of the twins think that their sister is dead?
Yeah. That's what I'm waiting to find out. And
And clearly they had a very different version of events. So whatever did go down, who knows? But it seems obviously that the Jedi did something very wrong.
yeah. Well, and it, and the whole, I saw May fall. I'm like, well, what? I for some reason I just imagined like the drop being like 10 feet. It's just really dark. So like she
Yeah.
fell. He's like, oh God, and she's falling and she lands and it's nice enough. She goes, ooh, that wasn't bad at all. Okay, and she just marches off like, I'm gonna go train to be a Sith.
Mhm.
F these guys. He let me fall. So like, Luke has spoken. Says they're pulling a Last Jedi situation where we don't see the whole truth, like with Luke and Ben. Yeah, I like that, and I thought that was a cool idea. John Phillips, I think, is branding himself as someone who absolutely does not like the show. He says, "So the Jedi haven't learned anything." Wow, that's an original idea. John Phillips.
Yeah, but this is further back in the
Acolyte hater.
timeline, so they're going to be stupider.
Yeah, stupid. Yeah. So, and by the way, if I alienated anybody with that little rant, I apologize, but it's just, I just that just drove me nuts. So hopefully I didn't get us in
Well.
trouble with the network. So Kale McLeish. We watch her fall and hear Scott Stapp's isolated vocal. Maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. Okay. See, now if I had to hear Creed in this show, then I would hate the show. So I am very, very far from being a Creed fan. Not a fan. But yeah, I just, I thought this was gonna be like a super dark show. And I know we had read, okay, it's a mystery, whatever. But I thought it was gonna be just like dark side, dark side, dark side, red lightsabers and dark scenery and all this kind of stuff. Like it's not what I expected at all. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I like that they've done something different again. So it's kind of a left turn from I think, at least from what I expected, which I really like. And yeah, honestly, dude, like you said, like when you rewatch it, it gets better for you. I was grabbed by it immediately. I mean, I was telling you, off air when it came on, I was like, dude, the show's great. I'm loving it. Like I'm absolutely loving it. And
Yeah, that was not my experience. I watched the debut, with my girlfriend and her son, and we all kind of compared notes, and we're like, it's all right, I guess. We all felt like there was something off about it, and without having any larger body of knowledge yet, we were like, maybe it's just a bad show. But it turns out no, it seems like all the missteps are kind of on purpose. I don't know if that's the sharpest way to do a episodic release of a show, like to purposely make bad TV to be like, oh, it was supposed to be bad, so it gets better later. Like,
yeah. Well,
to show events and not actually let on that like what you're seeing is not really the final version of how things went down.
Yeah,
That's new for Star Wars. So I get what they're trying to do, and I hope that's what they're trying to do, at least, because otherwise, yeah, I've got tons of stuff. I'm like, this does not make sense. This does not connect, and blah 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 blah. But I'm going with the theory that it's on purpose, and in that case, cool. I'm willing to give it a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I am a little pissed at where they cut these episodes, though, man. This end of the 4th episode, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? That's where we cut?
Well, it's a good cliffhanger, I thought.
It's a good cliffhanger.
It's it was like, whoa, look at that. Yeah, it's gonna. I can't wait to find out who this dude is. I mean, I honestly think it's just gonna be some dude. I don't think it's gonna end up being somebody that we've heard about before or know. I really think it's a fresh character.
Kale said he and his dad had already figured it out, so I'll be curious to see from the chat like what he has for a theory. Do you have one?
Oh, no, I do not. I tend not to think these things through, though. I like going through the journey, and I kind of focus on what I've already seen. Like I say, I just think it's a new character, and it's kind of, I don't know, maybe Knights of Ren-ish, I think. I mean, it kind of does look like one of them a little bit, but and I love the look of that character, by the way. That was cool as hell. It wasn't just your standard, bad guy mask. It was weird looking and industrial and really kind of dingy. I thought it was cool, man. John Phillips says it's apathy, not dislike. After the disappointment of Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, Disney has made me not care. See, I like Boba Fett. Obviously, I love Kenobi. Ahsoka, okay, I'll give you that one. But man, maybe I should go back and watch Boba Fett again because I think I'm one of like 4 people that actually really enjoyed that. So like,
Yeah.
All right. So Kale says, I think it's May's offsider. She said to him, nah, OSHA being here changes everything, so I'm doing it my way. Kalnaka ends up dead before she gets there, and the baddie is already there. Clearly him. Okay.
See, my problem is I have such a hard time seeing anything but Jason from The Good Place.
From
It's
the what?
Jason Mendoza, The Good Place.
Oh,
The
I've
guy
never
playing
seen
that character that Kale's talking about is, yeah, it's Jason Mendoza. Yeah. So anyway, he's a big dope from Jacksonville in that show. So
okay.
of course, him playing kind of a dope in this, I'm like, yeah, that fits. So there's a prevailing theory that actually, yeah, Kale is right there. Yeah. So I don't know why I stuck with character names when we're on the air, but I'm assuming what we're talking about is the guy who's helping May.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, that's the prevailing theory is that he is actually the master whose identity we don't know.
That'd be kind of badass. Like hiding in plain sight thing. I think that'd be cool as hell. By the way,
second theory. What do you think about this?
Okay. By the way, I found.
Sorry, go ahead.
I found 2 of the other 3 people that like Boba Fett. So Zamian says I enjoyed Boba Fett, and Luke has spoken says don't worry, I enjoyed Boba Fett as well. So somewhere in the world is one more that's just like us. We have our little club. And
I didn't have a problem with Boba Fett. I just had a problem with the way it was arranged. I feel like if they just told like the flashback piece and then told the present day piece, it would have made a lot more sense because every time they cut to a flashback, it had nothing to do with the present events. Usually, if you're going to intercut between 2 storylines like that, it's because one is at least thematically connected to the other. But it was just like, I'm taking a water nap. I guess I'm thinking about this now. And then, right back again.
Yeah, it did get confusing a little bit, but Sherry Evans Ellsburn says, I've heard the Khmer, I think that's how you pronounce it, Khmer theory, but also that maybe it is Mother Corliss. She was not seen among the dead bodies of the witches. Okay. So what is the other theory that that you have heard? Is it the Mother Corliss one that Sherry brought up, or is it something different?
No, so it goes off of Maz Offsider. And it says, while he's referred to as the master, maybe he's the apprentice. An acolyte is someone who's kind of like employed, like Asajj. Asajj Ventress would have been technically an acolyte.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
She was working for the apprentice in Dooku, not the master.
Okay.
So the theory is that, yeah, this is not the Sith master. This is the Sith apprentice. And he's grooming May to help him because the cycle is always that the apprentice overthrows the master. Yeah. And so, yeah. So the hopeful theory is that the real master in all of this is Plagueis.
I was just about to say that's got to be where people are kind of going with it.
I mean, I would love that if season 1 ends and the master is defeated and it turns out that he wasn't the master after all. If that was like the cliffhanger is like, yeah, have you heard of Plagueis? And like that, boom, season 2 set up right there. I would love that.
I know.
Great.
Dude, I mean, don't you think that Plagueis has to come into the into like canon at some point? I mean, that book is so well loved and the information in it is so great. And basically kind of is like the, really kind of it makes sense that it's the start of all this cloning crap that we're seeing in these other shows. And, to have him come into it eventually would be pretty cool. And to bring him in this way would be pretty awesome. So,
or hell, maybe it's Tenebris. Maybe it's Plagueis' master.
oh yeah,
And then Plagueis gets recruited because his apprentice got offed.
yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
I mean, either way, it could be fine either way.
maybe it's Plagueis under the mask right now as the bad guy, but his head hasn't gotten all big yet. maybe he got.
A Mune head is not going to fit in there. That's for damn sure.
Well, maybe Mune, like when they're younger, they're normal, and then they just kind of like, what is that fish that like gradually like, what is it,
like
a flounder?
Yeah, basically eyes on both sides of his head, and then one just like migrates over to the other.
Yes, exactly.
Like, the rest of his life. Yeah.
So basically, Mune are the flounders of the galaxy, where they start out with normal heads and then they get weird. They get all like
it's canon. It's canon.
That'll be later in the show. He'll take the helmet off and he'll walk around for an episode without it. Then the next episode he'll go to put it back on and be like, damn, this thing won't go on. Like, we'll see the growth of the head begin.
Shit, now I really got to do this from the shadows.
Right. Oh my God, that's funny. Oh, Chastity, great to see you as always, man. As much as I love you guys, I need to head out. Got to eat dinner and head to bed. It's early out there. Isn't it only like 6:45? Yeah. Oh, she's doing her bakery though. She's doing the bakery stuff. All right. Well, great to see you, Chastity. I'm sure, hopefully I will see you next week on Talking Into Infinity, a Dream Theater centric podcast. Yeah, that's interesting. I love that theory. That it's, the apprentice and not the master. But I think if it was going to be one thing, I like the whole Khmer theory that the dude who's helping May is actually the master. I like that. I think that would be pretty cool that he was sitting there in plain sight the whole time, and I mean, and it in a way it makes sense because he said, well, we didn't really have a deal. I just kind of owe him, so that kind of plays into it a little bit,
Yeah, his answers are always like brief and somewhat evasive.
Yeah.
So it's either a great red herring or we've already met this guy. But I don't know because they could slice it any way they want, but it seems like I've tried rewatching it since seeing that theory, and there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, wait a minute. Like I thought, for example, in this last episode where he's like, all right, I'll go get you some more water. And I'm like, oh, right. And then, he's gone. No, he's actually seen getting water and hearing her shriek and runs off and gets caught in a trap. And we see all that on camera. So this isn't just like someone's account of events. This is apparently reliable information that we're seeing. So he must have got himself out of that damn trap, I guess, and gone and changed clothes.
Or he killed, I don't know. He killed Kelnaka really fast.
Right. Well, I mean, apparently come on, the entrance to that Sith guy was amazing. So apparently he can hover.
Yeah. Yes. I figure he probably just ran into the hut, whipped the lightsaber, and it like did like a boomerang, cut Kelnaka in the chest, killed him, came back to me, ran back out, threw the gear off, gets caught in the trap. Like, son of a bitch. So who knows? It's the first boomerang lightsaber killing in the history of Star Wars that we see on screen. So, yeah, I'm very interested to see how they play this out. I love the mystery thing. Kale says he's like, I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. Yeah, for me, I'm a big fan of Attack of the Clones, and I've been on record as saying the reason I like it is because it's different. It's like a whodunit. And this kind of is along those lines, and, like I say, this has kind of a prequel-ish feel to me. And, because it is a little bit of a different storyline, for these shows, I think it's cool, man. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. And I'm hoping that there's, multiple seasons of it. I'm not going to be one of those guys like, oh, if they only have one season, I got ripped off, but it'd be cool to see more of it, So, at least for right now, it seems like an open-ended story, unlike something like Andor, which, has a definitive ending point, as we know. So yeah,
I like that better though. That's one thing that bums me out about this whole streaming era is they'll start a story, they'll give it like a season to see if it does well enough, then they'll make more. I'm like, but especially with Star Wars, Star Wars is founded on this idea that there is a story to be told. There are this many chapters and this many things happen, and that is it. When you get those chapters is yet to be determined, but you will get those chapters because it's not just like, okay, well, that was a good season of television. What else can we have these characters run into next time?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I much prefer the feeling when it feels like, no, there's exactly an end point to this story, and we just haven't gotten there yet. Instead of this idea of like, well, we'll just do more stuff with those characters. Why not? Sure.
It kind of makes it a sitcom, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Star Wars was always presented as like this fable that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The idea being like, all of this has already happened. We already know the entire story. It's just a matter of getting it to you in the first place.
Yeah. Instead of what zany antics are the Jedi going to get into this week?
Right.
Like, they could do to have like the breaks be like the Dukes of Hazzard, like have something happen and then just have it freeze frame and have some narrator be like, now don't you get the feeling that Kalnaka's not going to survive this lightsaber boomerang? Like something stupid like that. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And you know what's fascinating to me also is I love that they're coming up with stuff that like they're like, oh, we could totally explain this. Like they're still seeing things that can be explained, and for the most part they don't seem superfluous, like they're trying too hard to find content, like like when they're expanding more on on the High Republic, and they're showing the the Jedi training, the Padawan training and things like that, and then like showing how the Jedi actually go about collecting younglings or what in the show and stuff, like little things like that. It's cool. It's like, I mean, it doesn't feel shoehorned in. It's like you see it and you go, oh, so that's how that happened, which I think is really, really cool. I like that they're adding on to it, but they're not doing it stupid. The only thing that I don't like, and I was going to bring this up, I Gail McLeish looks like Ocean's bitten off more than she can chew. How's she gonna get out of this one? Tune in next week. Same intergalactic tune, same intergalactic channel. Exactly. The zany adventures of the Jedi. So you mentioned something earlier, and I will say something that I do not like. I don't like the idea that the Force has different interpretations. Like I think in the show, like with the Witch Coven, that's called the Thread, I want to say. I have to admit that I'm not a big fan of that. I like it being the Force because, and just having it only be the Force, because that's supposed to be like, we've always been told it binds the galaxy together. So to me, I would like it better if that was the only iteration. We just have the Force and not these people like interpreting it. There goes your light. There it comes. I'm not against it, I suppose, but I think it's cooler to me if they would just leave it as, everybody kind of, goes through the Force and whatnot. Because I don't think like the Force isn't like a religion. It's not like a religious thing, it's like a, binds us and whatever, penetrates us in the galaxy. I mean, Jedi is like a religion, Sith and all that. But so that's all fine. I just think, people having different, ways to use it. And I mean, it's okay. I like the idea of the Force being the one singular thing. So I think that was the only problem I really had.
Well, I don't think it's that they're introducing something apart from the Force. It's just, it's called something different in this Witch Coven. That's all.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same thing. It's just referred to as something else. It's like the same idea that multiple, religions in real life have the idea of a soul or, reincarnation or an afterlife. But, what that afterlife is called is different by religion. But the idea of an afterlife is kind of pervasive throughout them all.
Yeah.
So I think that's
okay. I can see that.
And we started to get that a little bit with Rogue One, didn't we? With like God damn it. Come on, help me out. Chase and Barrett. Baze and Chirrut. Jesus.
Chase and Barrett.
Wow. It's like a brain fart on top of a brain fart. Wow.
Chase
Guardians of the Wills. That's what they were called.
See,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, and then you busted out with cheese and beer. And I was like, you sidetracked me.
And then I thought beer cheese. I'm
Oh.
like, wow, you're way off track. Anyway.
That's yeah. I was like, beer. What?
So anyway, yeah. So we started with this idea that like the Jedi aren't the only ones that believe in the Force and have like an idea of how it works. And this is just like an extension of that. Like the Night Sisters, same thing. The Night Sisters, you know, they're using like magic and stuff like that, but really it's tapping into the Force. It's just like
Later,
dark
Damien.
side.
Good to see you, bud.
Peace out, Zamian. Thanks for tuning in, man. But yeah, so it's just an idea of like someone else is using the Force. They're calling it what they want to call it, but I don't think it's anything different. It's just a different name for it.
Yeah,
So I'm good with that.
You know what? I will stand corrected because I like that interpretation. I think mine was wrong, so I will admit that I am wrong, and I will say that yours and Kale and others that believe that I think are correct. So
JT, you're interneting wrong, okay? You're online. You don't admit you're wrong. You dig in harder and you blame Kathleen Kennedy.
No. Oh, that's another one, dude. I'll leave that. You know what's funny? My boss is one of those Kathleen Kennedy killed Star Wars people, and I can't fight him because he's my boss. I've told him many times. I said, dude, I'm so gonna rant on you on my show. so please don't decide to tune in.
Bring him on.
Oh God.
Let's have a throwdown with the fate of your job hanging in the balance. I want to tune into that one. I won't even be a host on that one. I'll be a moderator. There we go.
It's not. As for interneting wrong, you know what, dude? If I'm gonna like go full, just like, flame, just like napalming a certain faction of the fan base like I did to start the show out, I damn sure cannot have a double standard and like go do stuff that they would do. Oh my God. Yeah. Kale, the day you retire, you're gonna let him have it. He's a couple years older than me, so I think he's gonna retire before me. But
when he retires, then
yeah, I'll make sure he's out the door. I'll run off into the parking lot. Like, you're officially not employed anymore, correct? He's like, yep, I'm done. I'm not on the payroll anymore. Well, you're a goddamn moron for not liking Kathleen Kennedy. Get out of here, Star Wars jerk. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool about this show, that this idea that like the Force, and Luke said it himself in episode 8, the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. It's everywhere. And so, okay, so other people use it differently. That's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down with that. I hope they don't lean into the Immaculate Conception thing too much more. I thought it was cool with Anakin. I can't say that I'm a big fan of the whole May and Osha thing, just because, like I said, I liked when Anakin was, I think it takes away some of Anakin's power to do it again, I guess is the way that I feel. I'm like, it doesn't feel as special. It doesn't feel like he's, I don't know. I liked when it was like a singular event. I think I'm not totally, I'm not against it. I just hope they don't in other areas start being like, oh, there's Immaculate Conceptions everywhere. Like, damn, like then it doesn't seem as cool,
Well, I guess it depends on your interpretation of those events then, doesn't it? Because, it's been not said for sure, but, it's been hinted at, of course, that it was Palpatine and Plagueis dicking around with the Force that actually caused Anakin's conception. So it wasn't the Force being altruistic and being like, hey, we need this guy. Instead, it was the Force kind of pushing back and being like, oh, you're trying to cheat death and create life. Well, good. Then I'm going to fulfill your prophecy, and it's going to be your own undoing. Wow. So I like that idea that maybe like, if Plagueis is part of this, maybe Plagueis gets the idea for dicking around with this stuff by seeing that these witches managed to do it first. And he's like, that's the path to immortality. Okay, I got to learn that.
I like that. That's kind of cool. I like that outlook. Yeah. Okay. So John Phillips regarding Kathleen Kennedy says she hasn't killed it. She hasn't helped it either. I'm going to push back on that, John, because I've said many times on the show that even if they put out stuff that we don't like, it can open up stories that they can tell that we might like. So, for example, I was not AJ and I both, neither of us are big Rebels fans, but there was some cool stuff presented that we then got to see, which I do like. So, she, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have all this like awesome new content. I mean, let's face it, Disney Plus itself is basically, it was pretty much a Star Wars platform, and look at all the cool stuff we have there. I mean, you've got all the indie stuff and the National Geographic stuff and Marvel and all that. It's like, I mean, so that in itself is pretty damn cool. So I would say that she has helped it. So have I loved everything? No, but I love that it's there because it can give us something else. So I think that's pretty sweet. So yeah, I mean, Sherry Evans Ellsburn, she's on the same page. She says, without Kathleen, we would not have so much content. Yeah. John Phillips says
that's not necessarily a good thing, though. I mean, look at Marvel.
Well,
quantity over quality can be a real thing.
Yeah, okay, but see, that's a different thing. We'll get back to the Acolyte in a second. John Phillips says she's not a storyteller. Well, but she's putting people in place that are. So at least she's not trying to pull a George Lucas during the prequels where he's like, he just had yes men around him and he's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. I think the Marvel thing, does he not know what we're doing? Good Lord.
Right.
Get in the chat, Joe. Like the Marvel thing, I think is different because that was an already established universe and these characters already existed. And I think the problem Marvel has run into is that, like, for an average like fan like me, they're starting to pull characters out that I couldn't give two shits about. It's like I don't care about a lot of these new things that they're displaying. I'm like, look, I like Captain America and Iron Man and the Hulk and stuff like that. It's like but Star Wars, they don't have that problem. They can just keep creating new stuff, which I think is cool. So
yeah, and people forget the idea that it's okay to not love everything. It's such a broad and diverse fan base that it's okay if you don't love everything. Maybe it's not made for you then. Maybe someone else loves it dearly, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not fans of Visions. I'm not an anime fan. You're not an anime fan. That's not to say that anime sucks or no one should like it.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. So we don't watch Visions. If you love Visions, great. Go ahead and love Visions. It's perfectly fine. It's not this idea that, like, you have to like what I like. Otherwise it's all crap. Like, why are people not allowed to like things that you don't, and vice versa?
Dude, it beats me. Well, no, I take that back. You have to like Kenobi because you're a dummy. So there, I'll throw that in as a caveat. So there you go. Now I have a double standard. Damn it! There's the double standard. I'm gonna make you hate that show more because I'm gonna I keep ramming it down your throat. Like, this show is even worse now. Every time I'm gonna try and rewatch it, but then I hear that idiot in my head going, "You suck for not liking this." So
maybe I just need a better TV or something with a brightness setting that goes up higher, because I just can't see what's happening half the time.
Well, maybe, could be. All right, so get to the last few minutes here. We'll give our final thoughts. Again, for anybody who's
go ahead.
I was going to say, for anybody who tuned in earlier, who's been here the whole time while I was busy screaming and cursing, I apologize. Hopefully the network doesn't kick us off. Whoa, there, giant bug. Oh, fuck that.
All right.
What was that? That was a bug, man. It was like, I'm like, what is moving? I'm down here alone.
You must have loved this latest episode of The Acolyte then, because wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That cool.
This goddamn thing landed on me. Okay, we'll close.
Apparently all you got to do to derail our show is just get a bug in there.
Screw
bug
that.
in the studio and John loses his shit. Oh my God. Okay.
Forget that, man. Woo. Forget that shit. Wow. All right. Anyway, final thoughts. Yes, I was not a big fan of the giant bug. I do not, as everyone has now learned, I do not like bugs at all. So Wow, what an episode. I've ranted twice. One was
Right?
completely off the cuff. Had a
No,
bug freak
to your
out.
point about new stories and new characters though, I'm picking up on rewatch. There's threads being dropped that can be picked up at any time. It's not just for the sake of this one mystery. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll come back around to it, but did you catch the mention in the previous episode about, well, first of all, the kids' heads are full of lies about like the nature of the Jedi, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, there's that mention of that coven being hunted to extinction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So their beef with the Jedi, apparently they got in a fight with the Jedi and the Jedi damn near wiped him out. So what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole thing that could be its own, I don't know, book or comic or something.
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, different stories and whatnot. It's like, they could make a bigger deal out of this coven of witches. Who knows? Maybe, the people that aren't saying, oh, Star Wars is woke, maybe they're so into it that they will get more content out of it, and we'll explain it more. Then cool, like, we'll talk about this. They were able to do an immaculate conception, so let's dig into it. Kale
Let's
says
dig into
John's
the origin of their shitty chant.
okay. Yes, I forgot about that. Yes.
That's fucking terrible. That was just awful.
That was, I don't even remember.
I can forgive a lot, but I can't forgive shitty singing like that.
I have got to go back and rewatch it. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to bring that up. That was awful. I'm like, that really? That's the best you could do? like, what the hell, man? It's like they just run. Did they need like a song? Like, did they finish filming everything and they went, oh man, we need a song, and someone just did this horrible. Yeah, that's good enough. Just put that in.
Mhm.
Go, just do it. CG it in there. Like, that was really bad.
Very bad.
Yeah. So there is one thing I really hated about the show, and that was it. But yeah, I think overall, dude, I'm loving it. I think part of the reason I'm liking it so much is that it is such a surprise, and a pleasant surprise. I figured I would love Andor because, I mean, we're huge Rogue One fans, so that one was a no-brainer. Did that goddamn thing land on me again? Go away, you pecker-headed little bastard. God damn it. Now I'm all gun shy, man. I'm looking around for this stupid bug. God bless it. Anyway.
Fantastic.
Kale wants to know what the chant was. I don't remember, because I think I tuned it out. I was like, I'm not going to.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
That, yeah. God, so bad. So damn bad, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm hoping that there's more stuff about, the Jedi, and kind of explaining more about, how they get the younglings, and maybe that ties into, the whole May and Osh thing. And I just, it's really sucked me in. And I think part of it, again, is because it's a surprise. It's not what I expected at all. I think it's very high quality, and I'm just loving it. Like I said, I love the prequel-esque feel of it, and I think it's cool. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. How about you?
Yeah, same. Like I said, the more I watch it, the more I don't think I know where it's going, but I do definitely see that. I think all the parts that aren't jiving for me or don't make sense are not meant to just yet.
Yeah.
So without the whole thing is a mystery. We've known that from the start. They've sold it as a mystery from the start. So to say like, well, this doesn't make any sense, it's not supposed to yet. Chill out and wait for the story to finish before you go casting judgment on it. It's a bold step for the franchise. For as much people as were bitching that, like, the sequels sucked and there's no reason to tack on more episodes and all that. Great. Well, you finally got your wish. You got a completely original series with an original timeline, with original characters.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that it all takes place in a pre-established universe is the only thing tying this to any of the stuff that we've seen before. And love it or hate it, they're at least trying. They're finally moving away from, well, if it's not attached to the Skywalker saga, then we're not going to bother. that whole small universe problem. So I'm enjoying it just for the bravery it is to do this show in the first place. And I'll bet you in a couple of years, this won't be the best thing that they do, but it will be remembered as the first attempt to get away from everything Skywalker.
Okay.
And for a first attempt, I think it's solid. I think it's solid in even the stuff that doesn't make sense, even for the hardcores, isn't meant to. Like, people are really scratching their heads over Vernestra Rowe. Vernestra Rowe is a well-established character in the High Republic, a couple hundred years prior. So apparently her species has a hell of a lifespan. And she's completely different in this show than she is in those books. But there are hints of the stuff that she goes through in those books that might explain that through events that have not been revealed yet in that time gap, she got from there to here. So it seems very obvious that, like, anything that doesn't make sense in this show has been considered and is different for a reason. And I feel like people just need to calm the hell down, wait for the next 4 episodes, and then cast your judgment.
I would agree. I've never really understood why somebody would judge a show that's episodic based on, like, 1 or 2 episodes. Like, oh, this sucks, I'm not watching. Like, well, how do you know it's not going to get awesome? Like, how do you know? You're kind of like potentially robbing yourself of something you might enjoy. But I mean,
it is bizarre.
That's just me. I mean,
we're in the era of episodic television where everything is usually a season spanning arc. It's very rare anymore you get a show where, like, each episode is its own self-contained story. It's just chapters in a larger story. So how are you going to judge each chapter before you've read the whole book? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's not how I look at. I mean, like, dude, Ahsoka is a perfect example. I knew there was going to be Purgle. I knew there was going to, potentially be World Between Worlds, and I'm, not a fan of those at all. But I wasn't about to, go, I'm not watching this because I don't like those things. Okay, and I watched the whole thing, and did I like it? No, not necessarily. But I watched the whole thing before saying, okay, this is not for me. Because I didn't know. What if all of a sudden it got awesome and I was like, oh crap, this totally turned around, and now as a whole unit it makes sense. So yeah. And I mean, Luke has spoken. Yeah. He says, I can already tell by the end of the last episode things are about to go down next week. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I don't think they're going to show this, start of a potential fight and then, oh, we're not going to show that. Like, oh, come on, man, you can't do that. Like, 6 or 8 Jedi against, the 10th member of Slipknot. I mean, come on. Like, let's, you got to see it. So
do you think we pick up right where we left off, or they're going to cut to another, like, flashback?
That's a good question. I could see them doing a flashback. I could see it being a flashback. I think that's kind of like to keep the, the intrigue going about that big potential battle. So I think I could definitely see, maybe it'll kind of like tell us who's under that mask. Maybe that'll be, who knows? I could definitely see a flashback, because doesn't it seem more Star Wars-ish to have the flashback instead of, we see him like push them all back, the Force push, and then immediately start out the next episode with all sorts of lightsabers kicking ass and all that and using the Force and everything. Like, it doesn't sound like, it doesn't seem like something they would do, I guess.
Yeah.
So your girlfriend is not a fan so far. She says, Miranda says, I feel like it's a little rough around the edges and not the best quality when it comes to effects and such, but maybe that's done on purpose based on the timeline of where it fits in Star Wars history. It is a little earlier, so I mean that could be Miranda. But
I think she's getting on what I was talking about earlier, where, like, there's something about the way it's shot that it's not up to the level of the movies for sure, and I don't know how they would present it differently to make it look more film. Like, Andor managed to do it. Andor looks like as good as the movies, in my opinion.
Yeah,
at least it looks very much like it's just like more of Rogue One, really. Like, they didn't, whatever they did, they managed to not downgrade the visual quality just by making it a TV show instead of a movie. But I feel like this is not doing that.
Okay. See,
but I don't know why.
I think it looks cool. I mean, they can't do all the stuff they do on the movies. for obvious reasons. But I mean, I think it looks fine, and I think Andor is a bad example because that's the least effects heavy one that they've done. I mean, that was very much a character story. It wasn't a lot of, crazy space battles and Jedi and all that kind of stuff. It was very much, set on, that one planet and just characters talking and kind of going through stuff. So I think that's probably why. So, yeah. So, all right. Well, that's all I have. Any final thoughts before we jump on out of here?
Well, I just wonder what you think the rest of the season's going to hold.
I really don't know. It's a mystery. Go figure.
That's the kind of insight people come to the Nerf Herder Council for.
I know. Well, dude, I mean, I'm very intrigued. I mean, the reason I say I'm not sure is because it's an era that we haven't seen explored, in the live action stuff yet. So I think it's such a blank canvas that it's hard to guess. I mean, it's but I think I do like the idea of Kamir being the guy who's actually the master, or at least in this series. But I love the idea that it's the Acolyte and there's another master elsewhere. So I think if they go that route, I'll be very pleased with it. But yeah, I think I don't know. I really don't. I really haven't thought about it because it's such new territory that I'm just excited to see what they came up with. It's so cool to see. Like I said, use the term again, a blank slate, to see what they actually are doing and where it's going and the potential for stories after it. So I think, I'm very excited to see that. So
I'm curious to see how this lines up with. Well, we already determined that Ki-Adi-Mundi's full of shit, so I think that's really the only explanation necessary. But this whole idea of like the Sith have been extinct for millennia. Well, what about that dude like 100 years ago that zipper face? Like, so clearly, like
zipper face.
This guy is a Sith, right? We're assuming he's a Sith. He's got all the hallmarks of being a Sith, and yet 100 years on from now, the Jedi are like, we hadn't seen those guys in like 1,000 years, man. So how does it not get back to the council that this guy was a Sith?
Because he's killing all of them. None of them lived to tell the tale.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, right? But that means that everybody that we're seeing on screen in your wallpaper right now is going to be offed. All of them.
And Ki-Adi-Mundi's
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, is seeing like how the hell this lines up with all the stuff from the prequels.
Ki-Adi-Mundi's too damn dumb to tell him. Like, what happened to all those Jedi? I don't know. They went on a mission and there was like the twins or some shit, and I don't know. Like, dude, Ki-Adi, do you pay attention to anything? The hell's wrong with you? You're wrong on everything you say. You don't know what happened to the Jedi 100 years ago. You were there, man. I don't know. What the hell do you want
like
from
10,000 of us across the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
What, we're down like 6. Bro, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. He's just downplaying the death. He's like, the hell do I care? We made more. The hell do you think the younglings are for? They're replacing the cannon fodder.
We just lost a master last week because it tripped on his own robes and fell over a cliff. What's the big deal?
Wouldn't it be great if we actually saw stuff
it's like losing one ant in a colony? No one gives a shit.
That's what they start doing in these shows. Just show like this random Jedi deaths. It's like clumsy stuff. It's like you said, just trips on his robes. Like, ooh, you get the guy in the background and you hear that awesome, make it a Wilhelm scream. Like, he just goes over like, ah. And a few minutes later, they're walking like, hey, where's Master Jingleberries? I don't know. He was here a minute ago. I don't know. Maybe he went back to the ship. It's just
Master Jingleberries. I love it.
That would be awesome. Just like they wipe out the clumsy Jedi. He's like, his lightsaber won't. One of them is like the lightsaber won't ignite. He's smacking. He's like, "Come on, man! Like this thing's not working." It ignites, goes through his face. Like, like, well, they're culling the herd, as it were. So, all right. Well, I guess that'll just about do it for this episode. We've We had a very animated rant to start out with. I got attacked by a random bug, and now we're talking about clumsy Jedi dying on screen. So go figure. Yet another rousing episode of the Nerf Herder Council. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, all you people in the chat. Miranda, Luke has spoken, John Phillips, Kale McLeish, obviously, Chastity Crawley, Ashley Brienzo, Sherry Evans Ellsburn. Appreciate you guys and all of your insight. As always, if you are just tuning in for the first time, we appreciate chat comments, and we like it when you guys kind of drive the conversation and throw your 2 cents worth in. So feel free to join us again. And by again, I mean in 2 weeks on Wednesday, July 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be the next time you can catch us. We might not be on the network anymore, depending on how pissed off they are with me and my little fit there. But yeah. So guys, once again, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to get customizable Nerf Herder Council swags, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And if you'd like to get virtual Cantina Network gear, go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And guys, if you're watching on YouTube, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live, like we did tonight. And I promise that I won't rant like that again. And if I do, it's not going to be for quite a long time. But you know, sorry for drawing a line in the sand there. But I feel like that just you and I, like you said, you are on the same page as I am, and I think it needed to be said. Because that vocal minority gets their say, and you know what? We have a show, so we get to have our say too. And there you go. So
I think it's credit to the show that it's pissing that many people off. If you're pissing people off, then you're doing something right. Actually,
I'm not trying to piss people off, man. I don't.
No, not you. Not you. This show.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, I don't like that clickbait shit. So
nope.
Kale, no more fun John rants. No, they'll happen, Kale, just not on that grand scale, probably. So John Phillips, I appreciate the debate, man. He says, your passion.
Don't worry, Kale. As soon as Geode comes in and saves the day, then you'll get another John rant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
That's the hidden hero of the entire show is coming up is a giant rock. Oh, see? Geode pissed him off so much he froze.
Oh no. All right, am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Well, we did have a one last comment, and then there's a reason I might have dropped out because we had a tree fall in our yard, and our lines are still ripped off the house, the internet lines. So maybe that had something to do with it. Sean Hines, good to see you, man. He says Jedi Bob Newhart will wake up next to Sheldon only to realize it was all a dream. Nice. All right, guys.
Reference. All right.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we will be right back here on Wednesday, July 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you guys. And AJ, what more can we say? I'm the host or a host. I am JT at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ
at Drake Adams 579.
And we will catch you guys next time.